Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Glass Faerie by Rachel Morgan, narrated by Amanda Dolan. Part 1, Chapter 1. In the dirty alley between Tygo's Diner and the abandoned library, the stench of rotting garbage provokes my gag reflex. I focus on breathing through my mouth as I remove the crumpled brown paper package from my messenger bag and hold it up. "You know the price, Slade." I waved the package at him. "Take it or leave it." Slade raises an eyebrow. He breathes out a painfully long sigh before turning to the wad of notes in his hand. He flicks lazily through them, counting out the right amount. But instead of handing the money over, he leans one shoulder against the wall and watches me with a smirk. "You drive a hard bargain, Emerson Clarke." "Stop being an idiot. The price is exactly the same as last time. Do you want it or not?" "Course I want it. Lighten up, Em." He shrugs, his shoulder rubbing against the giant yellow X graffitied across the bricks. "Just try to make this exchange more entertaining." I shoved the bag against his chest and removed the cash from his hand. "I don't need any more entertainment in my life." "Hey, you seriously need to chill out," he calls after me as I turn away. "Thanks for the advice." I don't bother to look over my shoulder at him as I stride away, my sneakers crunching against the damp, dirty ground. I'm almost at the end of the alley when the back door of Tygo's Diner swings open. I dodge out of the way to avoid being hit in the face. "Geez, Marty." "Oh, great, you're still here." He holds a trash bag out toward me. "You forgot this one." I consider telling him my shift ended 5 minutes ago, but it isn't worth the argument. I press my lips together, push Slade's money into my jeans pocket, and take the bag. Marty lets the door slam shut without another word. Grumbling beneath my breath, I walk the few steps back toward the dumpster. Slade, still slouching at the other end of the alley, ignores me as I hold my breath, lift the dumpster lid, and heft the trash bag up and over the edge. I'm about to lower the lid when I hear rustling from within the dumpster. Just a rat, I tell myself, knowing I should close the lid. But that part of my brain that always wants to know if the things I see and hear are actually real keeps my arm frozen in place. The scratching, rustling sound moves up the side of the dumpster. A scaly arm appears, clawing its way over the edge with blue talons and glowing yellow liquid dripping from... I drop the lid and jump back, swearing out loud. "Scared of something, Em?" Slade sniggers as he walks past me. "No," I snap back. But as he rounds the corner and disappears, I swallow, my heart thudding way too fast. I peek around the side of the dumpster, looking for a half-squashed reptilian arm protruding from beneath the lid, but there's nothing there. Overactive imagination, I mutter to myself as I hurry away, which is the same lie I always use. I feel easier once I'm out on the main street. Hooking my thumb beneath the strap of my messenger bag, I slow my steps, no longer feeling as though I'm running from something. My fear evaporates as I remind myself that with Slade's money added to my savings, I finally have enough for a bus trip. "Hey, Em!" I swing around in the direction of the shout and find Val, perched atop the wall surrounding Stanmead Elementary School. "Hey!" I wave at her as I change direction and cross the grassy area outside the school. I dump my bag on the ground, then run straight at the wall. My right foot strikes the bricks and launches me upward. With my palms flat on the top of the wall, it's easy to pull my legs up. "Nice one," Val says as I walk deftly along the top of the wall toward her. "Thanks." I sit beside her and dust my hands on my jeans. It's an easy wall, though. Not as high as some of the others we've tried. "I know. Hey, check this out." She pushes her dark, frizzy hair out of her face and holds her phone in front of me. Latest top 10 video from Parkour for Life. Looking past the crack on Val's cell phone screen, I watch a guy leap from one building, somersault through the air, and land on the next building, followed by 9 more spectacular moves. "Awesome," I murmur, I'd love to be able to do all that. Totally, Val agrees. I kind of feel like we'll have to go somewhere else to stretch our skills, though. The urban playground here is just too limiting. The urban playground? I repeat with a laugh. Yeah, people call it that, right? Well, I call it that. She spreads her arms out, almost smacking me in the face with her elbow. I present to you the Stanmead Urban Playground. It's ugly, but it's where we started. I shake my head, still smiling. You got the ugly part right, and the limiting part. We know this place and its obstacles too well now. Yeah. Anyway, how was your shift? I shrug. Slightly above average. I sold another one of Chelsea's homemade concoctions. Slayed Murphy again. Again? Ooh, do tell. What secret recurring ailment is Slade Murphy suffering from? Anything super embarrassing we should warn his girlfriend about? It was actually for his girlfriend. A contraceptive tea of some sort. Val tilts her head back and laughs. Well, let's hope that works. I guess it must be working since this is the second pack I sold him. Anyway, that's not important. I pull my sleeves down to cover my thumbs. What's important is that I've finally saved enough for another bus ride. Val straightens. To visit your mom? Yes, obviously. Cool, she says, though her voice lacks enthusiasm. What? It's just... She shifts a little. Are you sure you want to do that? It really upset you last time you visited her. I chew on my lower lip before answering. I know, but I'm hoping it'll be different this time. She might be better. Besides, it'll be worth it to get out of this place for a little bit. I'm counting the days until I don't have to share a house with pain-in-the-ass people anymore. I hear ya, Val says, her curls bouncing as she nods. I know she doesn't entirely mean it, though. Our family situations are both tough, but in completely different ways. While I'm stuck with an aunt who hates me and a prima donna cousin, Val has 4 younger siblings her mom expects her to help take care of. And I know Val loves them, despite all her complaining. So, in a few months' time, when we're finally done with school, I have a feeling I'll be leaving on my own. Hey! Get off there! We look over our shoulders into the schoolyard, where Mrs. Pringleton is shaking her bony finger at us. But we're not doing anything wrong, Val shouts back. Her gnarled hands form fists, and the pink birthmarks across one side of her face turn pinker. I'm calling the police if you don't get off there in the next 10 seconds. Cool, Val says. Tell Uncle Pete I say hi. Val, I nudge her arm while trying to keep from laughing. Let's not give the old woman a heart attack, okay? We can climb right back up once she leaves. Fine. Val shuffles her butt to the edge of the wall and jumps down. I follow a moment later. I guess I should go home to the mini monsters anyway, she adds. But I'm giving myself another 5 minutes of freedom first. She sits on the grass and crosses her legs. Fine by me. I remain standing but lean back against the wall and play with the edge of my sleeve. You're probably already in trouble for being late, so what's an extra 5 minutes? Exactly. A car rumbles by, and on the other side of the road I notice a person who wasn't there a minute ago. A guy with an annoyingly familiar swagger to his step. Wonderful, I mutter. What's Dash doing back here? Val looks up. Oh, probably going to the party. What party? She twists her head to the side and looks up at me. You know, the one at the Mason farmhouse. I didn't know, actually. Is Jade's older brother home again? Yeah, supposedly looking after Jade and the other Mason kid while their parents are away. And instead, he's throwing another party, I say with a sigh. Yeah, lucky for us lowly high schoolers. Sure, if that's your thing. I look back across the road at Dash. As always, he's highlighted his honey blonde hair with streaks of bright green. All I can do is shake my head at the odd color combination. His hair is so weird. I don't know how they let him get away with it at whatever preppy school he goes to. You don't know how they let him get away with amazing hair? Val asks with a laugh. No, I mean the color. She laughs harder and shakes her head. I don't know what you could possibly find offensive about that boy's beautiful hair, but okay, I won't argue with you. I look down at her with a frown. Beautiful hair? Really? She shrugs. What can I say? I find him attractive. I groan and look up once more, and Dash chooses that moment to glance across the street, give us a charming grin, and wink. Seriously, I mutter, who the hell winks at people? Dash, apparently, although probably only at you. Val smacks my ankle. You know he loves to irritate you. Anyway, you should come to the party. If Dash came all the way home for it, you know it's going to be good. Please, Dash is probably bored out of his mind at whatever uptight, snooty private school he goes to. No doubt he jumps at the chance to go to any party. So, does that mean you'll come? I shake my head as I watch Dash continue on down the street. Not my scene, Val. You know that. You know you can still come to parties even if you don't want to drink, right? So I can stand there totally sober and watch the rest of you get hammered? No thanks. Or you could just have a little bit. She pats my sneaker. You need to chill out more, Em. I fold my arms across my chest. Remember how my uncle died of alcohol poisoning? And how my mom tried to drown out her delusions by drinking? Yeah, I'm trying to avoid situations like that. Val is quiet as she gets to her feet. Come on, Em. You know that's never going to happen to you. I blink away the memory of that scaly, glowing arm reaching out of the dumpster. Okay, here's a reason for you. Dash is going to be at that party, and I don't feel like ruining my night. Okay, I get it. You're not coming to the party. She loops an arm around my neck and hugs me. Try to have a good evening anyway. Thanks. I'll see you tomorrow. We head in different directions, Val walking around the back of the school to cut across the field, while I continue along the road. Long shadows stretch across the pavement, and the washed-out orangey-brown haze of sunset fills the sky. I turn just after the post office and see a figure in a silver-hooded cloak standing in the middle of the road. In front of him, or her, is a man with pointed ears. The cloaked figure touches the man, and the man becomes a solid statue of gleaming, faceted crystal. With a gasp, I duck back behind the building, my heart thundering. I press my back against the warm brick wall and slap both hands over my eyes. I count to 10 while forcing myself to breathe slowly. There's nothing there, I whisper to myself. I start counting again, and this time I keep going. I reach 80 before I'm brave enough to lower my hands from my face. Slowly, I peek around the edge of the building. And of course, there's no sign that a hooded figure and a person made of crystal were ever there. Because they weren't, I tell myself. I press my back against the wall once more. You didn't see anything, I whisper. There was nothing there. You didn't see anything strange. You are not losing your mind. But as I hurry along the main road, choosing to take the longer route home, I can't help thinking of all the times weird things like this have happened. The unidentifiable creature sitting on the park swing one day, that man with the pointed ears who came to the diner one afternoon, and that time I looked in the bathroom mirror and just for a moment, my hair was blue. I'm not losing my mind, I repeat quietly, almost desperately. This is probably related to something I saw on TV or something I read. My brain is processing something fictional and regurgitating it more vividly than I expected. This is what people mean when they talk about an overactive imagination, right? Yeah, that must be it, I murmur. That must be it. It must be anything except the obvious, that I'm turning out just like my mother. I try to keep my gaze focused on the ground at my feet the rest of the way home, not wanting to see anything I shouldn't be seeing. It's a much longer journey than if I'd used the street I was supposed to use, the street the cloaked figure was on. It's dark by the time I reach our driveway, and I almost run up it and around the side of Chelsea's house. I'm never this eager to get home, but I've somehow convinced myself that I'll be safe once I get inside. I let myself in through the kitchen door and take a moment to breathe as the door clicks shut behind me. A boiling pot containing something that smells like it could be pasta sits on the stove. Through the open door that leads to the garage salon, I hear Chelsea and Georgia chatting. My earlier fear begins to seem silly in comparison to the ordinariness around me. I cross the kitchen without calling hello to Chelsea and Georgia. They won't particularly care that I'm home, and I don't particularly care to greet them. Instead, I head straight for my bedroom, removing the money from my pocket as I go. I force my door open, shoving it past yet another box of Chelsea's salon supplies that seems to have found its way into this room since this morning. I let my messenger bag slip off my shoulder and onto the bed, my focus now on counting out my commission from the money Slade paid me. The rest, of course, goes to dear Aunt Chelsea. She's the one who makes the weird herbal remedies. I pull my ice cream tub of toiletries off the shelf above my bed and look inside it for the resealable plastic bag I keep my savings in. I'll count it all now and make sure I have enough, then buy a bus ticket tomorrow. I rifle through the various bottles, my fingers feeling for the crumpled plastic bag. It's gone. My stomach drops as I empty the tub's contents onto my bed, just to be sure. I spread everything out, but the little zipper bag definitely isn't there. My skin grows cold, then hot. That was months and months of savings, all so that I could visit Mom, and now it's gone? My hands become fists as I storm out of the room and head straight for the salon. I find Georgia lounging in one of the chairs, staring at herself in the mirror as she combs her hand through her sleek blonde hair. On the opposite side of the room, Chelsea stocks the shelves with more of her homemade herbal products. "Where's my money?" I demand. Georgia jumps in fright and almost slips out of her chair, but Chelsea is still for a moment before turning to face me. "Your money, Emerson?" she says. "I think you mean my money." "Excuse me? You've been stealing from me for months." "Stealing from—" "I have never stolen a single thing from you. I always give you exactly what you're due and only keep the percentage I'm allowed. You know that." "Right." Chelsea crosses her arms and nods. "And then you go back to my bedroom afterwards and steal whatever you want. Money's been going missing from my purse for months now. At first I thought I was imagining it, that it must be my mistake. But then I started keeping track of exactly how much was there." She gives me a triumphant smile, as if she's done something wonderfully clever. "And you know what I discovered? Small amounts of money started to disappear every week or so, and look where I found it." She digs in her pocket and pulls out a plastic bag. My plastic bag. "That is my hard-earned savings," I tell her, feeling a knot of nausea forming in my stomach. "That is not yours." "Don't lie to me. I know how you girls spend money, as if it grows on trees and you have no responsibilities in the world. What I want to know is where is the rest of it?" She shakes the bag in the air between us. "Because you've taken way more than what's left here." "I didn't steal from you," I shout. I glance at Georgia, who's watching the two of us with a small smile. My anger increases a level as I point at her. "You want to know where your money's been going? That's where you should be looking." "Don't you dare pin this on Georgia. She would never steal from me." "Well, it isn't me, so that doesn't leave anyone else, does it?" Chelsea lets out an incredulous laugh. "I cannot believe you, Emerson. After everything I've done for you, I worked so hard to take care of both of you, and this is how you repay me? You steal from me, and then you run all over town doing that useless parkour nonsense." "Everything?" I repeat. "Did you say after everything you've done for me?" Normally I'd keep my mouth shut. I'd bite down my anger and let her try to convince herself how amazingly charitable she is. But not this time. Not when she's taken my one chance at visiting Mom. "You mean giving me Georgia's secondhand clothing, making me sleep in what is essentially your storeroom for 5 years, and using me as your live-in maid? I gave you a home," she shouts. "You should be grateful for the roof over your head. What would have happened to you if there'd been no one to take you in after they locked your mother up? Your father sure as hell didn't want you. He seems to be covering all your mother's medical bills in that fancy, faraway hospital. But is he interested in supporting you? Nope. I've never even met the man." Chelsea's used this tact before to try to hurt me, but it never works. I couldn't care less about my father or the fact that he has no interest in me. I don't even know what he looks like. Please, I say between clenched teeth, just give me back my money. You're not getting this money back, Emerson. End of story. Chelsea tucks the plastic bag into her pocket and turns to her shelves of herbal garbage. Georgia pushes herself out of her chair and leaves the room. I stand there feeling sick, my body shaking, finally realizing that all the hope I've been holding on to for months, the hope of finally visiting Mom again, is gone. And I can't even blame Chelsea for it. Not entirely. Not when someone else is responsible for this mess. I stride out of the salon and head for Georgia's room. She's sitting on her bed with a magazine, smiling sweetly, knowingly. It was you, I say, taking a few steps into her room. You told her where my money was. She lowers the magazine. What could you possibly need all that money for, Em? You know we need it to keep the household running. How could you be so selfish? How could you be so selfish, stealing from your own mother? I need things, she says. Things you don't need. Things you wouldn't understand, and Mom doesn't seem to understand either. I glare at her for another few moments, my anger so intense I could scream. But it would do no good. I still have to get through another few months here, and so I clamp my mouth shut, turn around, and aim for the door. But that's when I see it. Hanging from a knob on the wardrobe, the tag still attached to the hem, is a brand new dress. This is the stuff you need? I demand, grabbing the hanger, spinning around and shaking the dress at her. Yes! She sits a little straighter, as if I finally got her attention now that I'm threatening her clothing. I have a boyfriend and a social life and a future. That kind of stuff doesn't come for free. You have to look good if you want to. I fling the dress at her, and she yelps as it hits the side of her head. You bought a dress? I yell. I've been saving for almost a year so I could visit my mother, and you took that away from me for a dress? Something flashes across the room. Light and heat and the sound of a sizzle. It vanishes as Georgia falls back against the pillows with a scream. Fear cracks through my anger, drenching me in goosebumps. I rush over to Georgia. What's wrong? What happened? She shoves me away with one hand, the other covering her cheek. What the hell did you do to me? She gasps, her eyes wider than I've ever seen them. I didn't do. You threw something at me, like a firecracker or something, you freak. What is wrong with... I didn't throw anything. Get off her. Chelsea's hands wrap around my shoulders and tug me backward. In the quiet that follows, all I hear is my heavy breathing and Georgia's whimpering. She lowers her hand, revealing blood seeping from a shallow gash across her cheek. She glares at me with renewed hatred. Oh, my poor baby, Chelsea gasps, grabbing a tissue from the box on the nightstand. She drops onto the bed beside Georgia and presses the tissue against her cheek before turning her scowl toward me. I can't do this anymore, Em. You have never shown any gratitude for the sacrifices I've had to make for you. You've stolen from me, and now you've physically assaulted Georgia. The police can deal with you. The police? She stands and brushes past me. You're not my problem anymore. I follow her into the kitchen, where she picks up her phone from the table. When she taps a few numbers and brings the phone to her ear, I realize she isn't joking. Fear dissolves my anger. Chelsea, wait, I'm sorry. Georgia provoked me, but I shouldn't have lost my temper like that. It won't happen again. You don't have to bring the cops into this, please. I feel sick having to beg her, having to plead with this woman who's made me scrub toilets, do Georgia's laundry, lie to the various men she's always stringing along, and then demand my gratitude for the privilege of doing all these things for her. But it's only for a few more months. Then I'll be 18, school will be done, and I can make a plan to get out of here. But if the police get involved, who knows where I'll end up. No, Chelsea says. I can't believe you're making me do this, but I have no choice now. I have to protect my daughter. Chelsea, please, protect her from what? I step closer, clasping my hands together beneath my chin. I swear, I'll never... You're going to end up as crazy as your mother, she snaps. And I don't want you in this house when that happens. I reel back as if she slapped me. "Hello?" she says into the phone, turning away from me. "Yes, please, can you send someone to—" I bolt past her toward the back door. "Hey, get back here!" she yells as I tug the door open and run. But I don't go back, and I don't stop running. Chapter 2. I race across the backyard, scale the neighbor's fence, and easily vault the low wall on the other side of their garden. I have no plan other than to get as far away from home as possible before the cops show up. My sneakers slam pavements, and my body launches across several more obstacles before I realize I'm heading for Val's house. I get about halfway there when I remember she won't be home. I'm not sure what time that party was supposed to start, but things generally get going pretty early around here. It's not like there's much else to do. Besides, Val's house is probably the first place Chelsea will send the cops. I slow my steps and place my hands on my hips as I catch my breath. My heart is thrumming, my body almost vibrating. I force myself to take a long, slow breath. "What the hell are you doing?" I mutter to myself. Maybe I shouldn't have run. Maybe I should have stayed and explained myself. What's the worst that could have happened? You're going to end up as crazy as your mother. If the cops believe Chelsea, if someone performs some kind of medical test on me and her, words turn out to be true, then the worst that could happen isn't a physical assault charge. It isn't juvie or community service or whatever the local law enforcement decides is a suitable punishment for me. No, the worst thing would be ending up in a facility just like my mother's. Locked away to keep me from hurting others, drugged to keep me from seeing things that aren't there. Basically, my worst nightmare would come true. I find myself running again, this time toward Jade Mason's place, on the outskirts of town. It's further away than I remember, and I'm breathless by the time I get there. I slow down near the bottom of the long driveway, so I'm not a sweaty, panting mess when I reach the party. Outside the Mason's house, I find people milling around beside a bonfire, and others sitting on the porch. Music reaches my ears. Not seeing Val anywhere outside, I run up the porch steps and into the house. "Yo, Em, you made it this time." Eric, the idiot who sits next to me in English class, nods at me from where he's leaning against the hallway wall with some of his friends. "Hey, did you bring any of that herbal stuff your aunt sells?" He makes a few thrusting motions with his pelvis while his friends laugh. "You know how it gets me. Is Val here?" I ask. "Yeah, that way." He jerks his head toward the living room at the other end of the hallway. "Want a drink first?" I walk past him without answering, letting the howls and boos from his friends mingle with the thumping background music. In the dim, smoky living room, Dash is standing just inside the doorway, commanding an audience of several girls. His eyebrows twitch momentarily into a frown when he sees me, but it only lasts a moment. Then he shakes his head and smirks. Ignoring him, I walk into the room and spot Val on a couch with a bunch of our classmates. She has a cup in each hand. "Val!" I hurry over to her. "Hey, you came!" She beams at me as she shuffles over and nods her head toward the open spot on the couch. "Come sit here." "No, Can I talk to you?" She must hear the urgency in my voice, or perhaps see it on my face, because she pushes herself to her feet immediately. "Something wrong?" she asks, walking with me to the edge of the room. We stop beside a window. My body still feels like it's humming, so I shake my hands, roll my shoulders, and force myself to breathe out slowly. Val frowns. "Em, what is it?" "Chelsea found my stash of money. She freaked out and accused me of stealing from her." "What? No way! You would never steal from her." "Of course I wouldn't. It was obviously Georgia, but there's no point in telling Chelsea that. She would never believe her little angel capable of stealing. And then I lost my temper, and Georgia and I were fighting, and I scratched her face." I can't tell Val it wasn't me. I can't tell her that something strange and inexplicable happened in that room. She'd probably look at me the same way Chelsea did in the kitchen. "You're going to end up as crazy as your mother." And then she said she can't deal with me anymore and called the cops. Seriously? Val looks at me as if she may not have heard correctly. "Chelsea called the cops because you scratched Georgia? That's ridiculous." "I know, but..." I look around. Is your cousin here? Lexi? If I can talk to her, then she can explain to her dad what actually happened.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?